Nice day today. It's been a little while since I made a video, so the startup is a little rough. I have to sort of rebuild my confidence that what I'm saying is going to be of any use. And actually this one, of all of them, I would say lately anyway, this one would be of use. Which is this. I want to talk about how you can control stress to get things done when you have avoidant personality disorder. Now, as I'm sure you all know, part of the avoidant personality disorder is that you keep yourself in a cage, in a box. You don't let things happen. It's not the current diagnostic criteria, but I think it's very telling of the one before. One of the big criteria how to get diagnosed with avoidant personality disorder was underemployment, because you just can't put yourself out there. I've been asked before, how on earth, how did I ever get myself into a relationship at all? Then I get all the, oh, well, you're a girl, it's so much easier, blah, blah, blah. No. Let me tell you, no. It takes a certain amount of courage, for sure, to be on the end that starts it up, but to be on the receiving end, out of the blue, when you have no control, it blows your mind. Plus, it's scary because you don't know what's going on and why is this person this, that, and the other. And it's also kind of devastating in my experience, because I have always turned every single offer down every single time, the first time. It's kind of like, this is going to be terrible. It's kind of like if you want to convert to Judaism, you show up to take the classes and they'll ignore you. You have to do it a certain number of times before they're like, okay, yeah, you really mean this. Well, that's how I sort of dealt with dating. For that reason, it was suggested that I'm something called a demisexual, meaning that I have to know somebody before I'm attracted to them. No, that's not what it is. It's just avoidant personality disorder. People try to put that label and other labels. Oh, you're just asexual. No. I'm avoidant. There's a difference. There's definitely a difference. But people don't understand avoidant personality disorder. So they, even something as sort of rare as those types of terms and lifestyles, or whatever you want to call them. Go ahead and kill me for using that phraseology. It's possible to be both. But no, it's just like every other type of diagnosis. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I could, quote unquote, be diagnosed with, and I could have the alphabet soup, and I could have, 30 different, quote unquote, diagnoses, because I would qualify for them. This last set of diagnostic criteria, I thought it was really smart that they would say, unless you have already been, diagnosed with something else that could explain it, because there's so many overlaps. Getting off topic here, sorry. But, yeah, how did I ever get into a relationship? It was not just because I was a girl and I was walking down the street and somebody said, hey. Because if I'm a girl and I'm a girl, I am a girl. If I'm walking down the street and somebody just says, hey, they're absolutely terrifying to me. If it's out of the blue, and I can't prepare for it, no. So I have to be prepped for it. I actually, even as a girl, I have to prepare myself and to be in a good mental place to put myself in a position where I would be then sort of receptive at all. Okay? So it's not actually easier, I think. I mean, it's probably easier, a little bit easier maybe, to be passive. I don't know. But it's not like so passive that you're just sitting around waiting for people to knock on your door. Because if people do knock on your door, think about it. As an avoidant person, doesn't that freak you out? Duh. Anyway, so my point is, and this kind of schema, because I'm saying that how it works for that is kind of how it works for a lot of things in a person's life. You want something to upgrade your life in quite a few different areas. Well, it's kind of the same type of thing. You have to be prepped and receptive. And how do you get there? Usually, the easiest way to do it is to be so stressed in your current situation that going through the process of change is less painful than not changing. I'm sure you've heard that 900 times. And I'm sure it seems really smug. Okay? And it would be really great if you could just snap your fingers and say, hey, it's time. It's not. Usually you need to have an event happen in your life where you're stressed to the point where you can get past it. I mean, I boggled even now that I ever did it. My longest relationship, I met in a bar. That meant I had to get myself together and go find a bar and be in a bar and interact with people in a bar. Can you imagine? I mean, this is like normal for a lot of people. That's so not normal for me, like at all. I mean, are you kidding? So anyway, that's what you have to do, is that you have to get massively stressed to the point where staying where you are is worse than doing something different. And it's not a little bit of stress, it's a huge amount of stress that you get to the point where you can get over the avoidant dictations to stay away in order to do it. This is the best way to get a job. This is the best way to get, again, a relationship. If you want to make physical changes in your life, that if it has to involve another person in some way, this is how to do it. Now, right now, for a lot of people, they have been stressed because of this pandemic we're in. Either you're stressed because your routine changed because you have to stay home. You're stressed because you have financial problems. Or stress is not necessarily problems, but, different. You're stressed because of the rules of how you acquire the stuff you live with. You're stressed because you have to stay in close proximity with people, and you usually had an outlet or 2 or 7 to get away from them, and now you can't because, this is the type of massive stress that could help you change. Right? Especially if it's like a forced external stress. for my relationships, every single one that I ever got in, I moved to a new location. Like, I'm talking a new town. I'm talking like hundreds of miles away. New place where I didn't know anybody, and start over from scratch. And it was so lonely. That's how I started a relationship. If you saw my last video, it was kind of pathetic. I will say it point blank, that I was so stressed about getting my car worked on. I'm sure it is because of all the other stresses that have been going on. I've had physical stress because I was ill. I had this massive radical change of lifestyle. First I was in full quarantine, and then everybody else's. Grocery shopping is crazy. It's kind of awesome how cheap gas is, but it kind of sucks that I am absolutely stuck in place. Again, if you've been following me, what I have been using as my coping technique has been travel, going on these little trips. And I was really nervous about it. I said, this is not sustainable. Might be a great coping technique. This might be the type of thing that everybody wishes to have. They could retire and go traveling. I wasn't retired, but I was doing retirement traveling. And I said, whoa, this could be a problem. And I was thinking it was going to be financial. I'm going to turn around now because there's people at that place up there. I thought I would run out of money. And I thought, oh my God, if I'm dependent on the travel and I have run out of money and I can't do it, then what is my coping technique going to be? And even my therapist said, hey, don't worry about that. Come on, you can make money. That won't be a problem. Nobody saw this coming. So I don't have my coping technique that was working really well for like 6 months or a year. Just poof, it's gone. Massive stress. And I did have some temporary financial stress because I had to go into quarantine. And I was like, oh my God, if I can never get out of quarantine for whatever reason, how am I going to survive? So I had a little bit of stress there. And I got past that because I was able to get out of quarantine. I can't work the same way that I was working before, but I was able to adapt it, and now I'm actually making more money than I was making before. Again, temporary, whatever, but I had to change my job and how I do my job. Big stress. So I've had these stresses sort of building. And then I had the absolute deadline of I need to get my car fixed. It's a state law that you have to get an inspection and you have to go. And then I had to do this horrible thing of asking a mechanic to fix my car. Even though it's their job, even though they're getting paid, it was still asking for help. And it was hard. And it was hugely stressful. And it took quite a bit to push me out past my avoidant nature to get my car fixed. But here's the deal. The stress that causes you or enables you to get past your avoidance, it's kind of like a bowl, When you start getting just a little bit of stress, it gets deep quick. And you are like, oh my goodness, I'm going to drown. And then it gets deeper and deeper, but the more stress gets added, it actually rises at a smaller rate. It sort of pools out. And so it's not like you're able to handle it better, but it's not really as scary. It seems to affect you maybe like negative exponentially in my experience. Normal people, sorry for that term, If you get a one stress and another stress and you add them together, it's not 2 stress, it's like equal to 4 stress. People with avoidant personality disorder, like that first 1 stress is equal to 4 of what a normal person would have, or maybe 8, depending on what it is. It's big, it's huge. But then you sort of like catch up maybe to normal people. Sorry for the wind. I don't know if you can hear me at all. Can't control the wind, sorry. But it seems like there gets to be a point with other people where you add more stress and it's just like they feel like the mountain is on their back and they're about to break. With avoidant people, in my experience, and in what I've observed of other people, so it's not everybody in the world, and there's different types of avoidance, but it appears that once you hit a certain limit and you've gone past your avoidance in order to get something done, adding more stress doesn't bother you as much as anybody else who would be like, oh my goodness, 1 + 1 = 3. It's more like you get to that level when you've got like a big, say a 5 stress, 5 + 1 = 5.1. You can handle it better. You have more capacity. This is a temporary effect. And so you can use it to, if you have to deal with something and you're already stressed and coping with that, and you've gotten to the point where you've pushed past your avoidance, then while you're there, you can add something else that you want to get done. For example, I'm massively stressed about the car. Ridiculous, but it's true. And in this week, I helped my son, who's very difficult to deal with, sort out a financial issue that involved lots of other people. And in the process, I turned it over to him, so I will never ever have the responsibility of this issue again. Cool. So that's going to, the stress of the car, it's done, it's fixed. The stress of this thing I did with my kid, it was stressful, but I was already at that level. I didn't have to build up to getting to the point of pushing in to do the thing that I needed to do. I was already there. So it was just a little bit further that I had to push to do this thing. It was really annoying and took 2 days, but I got it done. And since I was there also, and this is horrifying, this is the type of thing that should, at any other time, I would have given me the screaming meanies, is I have some repairs that need to be done in my house that really, if I was responsible about it, I would have had them taken care of a year ago. And I have just been putting up with it instead of getting it fixed. But you know what I did? Because that's awful. That's having somebody in my house, which is my safe space. Which, again, super common with people with avoidant personality disorder, that they have some sort of area. Hi, squirrel. Where it's just them. And nobody else is allowed in. And they can feel safe there. Even the people who feel best around their family versus strangers still have a place where they can escape. To have a random stranger come into my place where I escape, this is an awful thing. That's exactly why going to a hospital doesn't work with somebody with avoidant personality disorder. Because where it's supposed to be this safe place to get better, it's actually, even if somebody's being nice to you, they're taking care of you, everything else, they're in your personal space, it is absolute other side, in the red, horrible. the idea that I would let any person into my house, into this one little area of the house that needs fixed, that's just, oh my God, kill me now. And yet I've done it. And it will feel humiliating. It will feel awful to ask for help. I'm sure I'm going to get the "why didn't you take care of this so long ago?" question. But then it's going to be done. And like I said, I'm already up to the level where doing this extra push is actually not that big a jump. Because I'm already at that level of stress. So I'm using the stress to get these things done. And I'm sitting there like, knowing that I have no coping technique. Looking at this list of, well, what else can I do right now that normally would cause me to have like a huge stress reaction that I can get it done with now and use this level of stress to push through. I'm not sure I'm not going to do anything else. Not because just because I don't really have anything else. I mean, the obvious thing would be, why don't you start like finding people? Nope. No, that is like another, jumping another level, and I'm not up at that level. If I was up at that level, if I suddenly found a new friend, then maybe I would find a bunch of new friends and start dating somebody. And actually, I know a personal example of that exactly happening. That somebody reached out, made a friend, got at that level, and stayed at that level, and is now exploring online dating. And it's working. Because already at that level of, I'm going to interact with people and I'm going to interact with some new person, is able to allow this person to then go sort of almost laterally, even though it's more stressful to find a romantic partner. But it's pretty close to a lateral jump for an avoidant person to do that sort of thing. Now, I'm not doing that. I'm doing like these very practical things, and I am still definitely having the big giant stick between me and the person of, I'm paying you to do this, as opposed to asking somebody, to do something as a favor for me. I'm not at that level, but I'm actually at the level to ask somebody to do something for me and get, and pay them for it. And I'm able to do that now because I got to this level of stress, and now I'm using it to basically look around and jump from here to here to here and get this stuff done. I don't know if this makes any sense at all. It's one of those things that once you realize what I'm saying and it kind of clicks, it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's not how the average person operates. But that is how people with avoidant personality disorder operate a lot. So, if you're going to do that, first of all, find out, really get to the bottom of what the real initial source of stress was. Like I said, for me it was, I had a state inspection deadline. I had to get my car fixed. I didn't have control over that, and I had to get it done. And that's the initial stress. And the thing is this, when I get stressed about other things, like a handyman coming to my house, then I can go back and say, okay, and this sounds weird, but this works, and it is the truth. The handyman coming to the house is not the cause of this massive amount of stress. The massive amount of stress was caused by going and getting my car fixed. And that is done and complete. This is just a small additional amount of stress. And so I can when I get stressed because this person is in my house, and it will be stressful, then I can remind myself, okay, well, I just had this other kind of stress of dealing with my car, which actually was 1, 2, 3, 4 different mechanics, operation type things. Mechanic operation type things. It was 4 separate appointments I had to make to get everything done on my car. It was quite the procedure. And it got done. And I got through it. And I have proof that I can get through that. And so I can use that sort of as my touchstone to say, okay, I got through that, now I'll be able to get through this other thing. I was able to get through this other thing with my kid, which was incredibly stressful because he's like, of course, yelling and screaming at me because that's how he communicates. So dealing with people plus being massively embarrassed by my kid's behavior, and I got through that. So now I'm going to have this person come into my house, and I have 2 examples of being able to handle that. So I know, unless it blows up in my face somehow, literally my house blows up, I'll be able to handle whatever comes. It's not like, okay, they're going to show up at my house and say, yeah, you can't live here anymore, or some stupid dumb thing like that. They're not going to, say that my house, has such problems that it's unlivable. They're just going to go in and fix whatever they're going to fix, and then it's going to be done. And it's probably going to take an hour. And then I'll sit there and go, well, why the hell didn't I do this a year ago? And that's reality of somebody with avoidant personality disorder. So the thing is, I'm doing this all now. It would seem insane. I'm like, why am I adding to my stress when my stress level is so high? It's because I can stack it on top of itself. And I'm using the stress in multiple ways. And so overall, it's taking far less of a stress effect on me to do them all at once than it is to do one after the other, because I don't have to build up to get to that point. And again, it's temporary. Probably this time next week, I won't be able to do anything. And that's fine, because I've already gotten everything done this week. So I don't know if this makes any sense. But if you are feeling massive stress like this, and you are forced out of your comfort zone, and you are forced to do something that you really don't want to do, but you get it done, look around and see if there's something similar that you want to get done but would take a lot of energy and a lot of stress. Because once you've gotten to that point, it might not take that much stress. You might be able to do it pretty easily. So take advantage of that. Anyway, see if this thing is still filming. I guess it is. Bye.